Hello there, running-ears. It's Manny again, and I got great news to share with you in a little bit. I had been telling you guys that I'm going to take you guys on my journey as I run through all the Disney races, including Dopey this year. We got some registrations that are coming up in the next couple weeks, so I'm going to go over that. But before we do, please keep subscribing to the channel. You guys are amazing. Thank you for doing so. We are doing very, very well. Keep asking questions. Keep interacting. We got a couple of topics we're going to go over right before we do that video where I will start sharing my training with you and some training tips, so that way it can enhance your guys' training. So if you guys don't already know, I am a certified running coach through the RRCA, Roadrunners Club of America, and I actually am a certified personal trainer, and I do have some master's courses in exercise science. So I'm kind of putting them all together to try to see if I can help not only myself out, but you guys out. So please keep ask questions if you guys want to, and let's go over some topics. So we are going to be getting into the seasons where we're going to be registering for the last 3 Disney runs. So starting in a few weeks, we're going to have Disneyland. Then a month later, it's going to be Princess. And a month after that, it's going to be Springtime Surprise. And somewhere in between, around that time, is also going to be Club Run Disney. So we got that going on. Next week, I'll probably do a video on how to register. I've done a few of them in the past. Tips and tricks to register. And so I'll be able to do one. I'm going to do one. The rest of them, I'll just kind of refer to that one. Maybe add a thing or here and there. But besides that, we're going to have that going on. So other news that should be dropping very, very soon is going to be, we already got the theming for the Halloween. It's going to be the very first run in September for the season. So the Run Disney season starts in September, goes all the way through April. So starting in September, we're going to have the Halloween out at Disneyland. And so we're going to have, we already have the theming, but what are the medals going to look like? We should have that dropping pretty soon. So I thought would be a great idea is to start talking about what do we think the medals could be. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and show you again what the 5K looks like. The 5K is Chip and Dale themed, and so it's going to be pretty cool. But again, we've had Chip and Dale in the past. So what could this one look like? So there is different kinds of medals, and you have the spinner, we have the front spinner, we got the movers that kind of move to side, and I have a couple of them right here to kind of show you. And then of course we have the stable ones. We have the stable ones that turn on or have that lighted fixture, that lighted component to it. So, and we're going to show you these. But what can these look like? What is the Chip and Dale going to look like? So I think possibilities could be Chip and Dale moving across. I think they could be like the little bouncers to where they're just there. They kind of stick out a little bit. I think it could be a spinner, one side or the other. And one side would be one Chip, and the other side would be Dale. They could be individual spinners to where the metal itself is stable, but you have those two characters and they can spin. But when you have that kind of metal, you're going to have something for the other side. So it could be regular Chip, regular Dale, or regular Chip, and then Pirate Chip, just on down the line. But what do you guys think it could be? So this is not going to be the best example of it, but this is one of the ones for Wine and Dine. But like a front spinner like this, I thought would be it, with Chip on one side, Dale on the other side. Again, that's going to be my guess. Your guess would be different, but I think that would look pretty cool. So now we go to the 10K, the Haunted Mansion. It's probably going to be opening right back up as soon as we get there in September. At least that's what right now the rumors are. So we got about 3 months for it to open back up with its brand new queuing area. And of course, they're going to have its own metal. So I went over a few of them, and I thought Haunted Mansions would be perfect for like the movers, so they come across. They're the hitchhiking ghosts, so they're going to be coming across. It actually can be a spinner, so they're going to be one the front spinner, so it could be one thing on one side, and the other side they're hitchhiking. The other side they get to their destination, so forth and so on. But I think that would be a cool one. I'm going to have something at the very end that I thought maybe it could be, and I thought this would be a cool idea. But what do you guys think, or what would you guys like for the 10K medal to be like? For the half marathon, we got the Sanderson sisters, but they come in the form of Minnie, Daisy, and Clarabelle. So Clarabelle. So what can they be? And this to me is one of the ones where you could do like the risers. The risers are kind of like, well, they're kind of like this, to where like the house on up, so it goes up. So I thought that would be really, really cool. You have the Sanderson sisters, and as they come up, they rise up, and they're on their brooms and they're flying around. But I think that would be a great one for the half marathon. Now for the challenge, you got Jack Skellington, you got Sally, and you got Zero. There's so many things that you could do. You could just make it a simple one. I think that would be a little bit boring. But you can have them moving, you can have them running, you can have it the spinner, you can have individual spinners. There's so many things that you can do with this one. So I thought, why not have a back spinner? So there's a backstory going across. This is from Dumbo Double Dare. So it's going across, so something in the background. So it's coming across when you have Jack Skellington, Sally, and Zero across, and maybe some kind of movement, so it looks like they're moving a little bit. I think that would be a great one, a great medal for that. There's one we're forgetting, and I think there would be two medals that would be perfect for this. And one would be the Haunted Mansion, and the second one would be the one with Jack, Sally, and Zero. And that would be the one that lights up. So this is the Dumbo Double Dare. I'm sorry, this is Dopey. And if you click on it, you see how it lights up right in here where my finger is. So that lights up. But maybe have something like this that lights up. Now, I personally would love to see that on the Haunted Mansion, because I have the little statue where the hitchhiking ghost, and I can turn that on, and it's really, really cool, because then it looks like they're moving. I thought that would be great addition to something like this, a medal, something that lights up. But with that said, is there anything out there that you think would be a great addition to the medals? Something that I talked about, something that you thought about and say, maybe we should do this? Please comment down below. Now, it's actually International Global Running Day, so I'm about to go out for a run, and I'm going to start giving some tips and tricks on what you should think about, because a lot of people, what I started seeing a lot of people are going through their programs. They just started, they're about to start, and they're doing some time stuff, but there's nothing really behind it. So I'm going to give you some ideas of what I do when it comes to tips and tricks, so that way you could have a better experience when you're running. Because a lot of the people that I see, that I interact with, that I talk to, that I see on social media, the problem is that they don't get to the time that they're supposed to. It has to do a lot with their training. So we're gonna go ahead and help them with that. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take off and we're gonna start running. Well, hello there, and welcome to International or Global Running Day. It's and I should, there's some people who can't run, and we got to look at them. They power walk really, really well. They're just active, and so even though it's International and Global Running Day, I'm gonna tip my hat out to anybody who's out there who's just being active. And so I wanted to expand a little bit more on the channel, so I'm gonna take you through my journey a little bit more this time around, because we only have 3 months until Halloween. runDisney's at Disneyland. That means a few months after that is Wine and Dine, and we just have a whole bunch of stuff going on. And people are already starting to train. Matter of fact, that's what I'm out here doing, is I'm starting my training program, a little bit getting my base down. So although I'm here running the trails, and I always like to say hello to people. So anyways, so you guys are going to be starting your training if you haven't already. But I noticed a lot of stuff online when I was looking at it, and people were like posting what they were doing. A lot of stuff, there's no like, I'm gonna walk a little bit here, I'm a little bit out of shape, but there's a lot of it to me like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And one of the things I love is, start with why. Why are you doing this? So I thought to myself, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a, have a good one, guys. What's it called? A little bit of an insight of why you should do certain things, why you shouldn't do others, at least to have an idea. So without further ado, we're gonna go on this video doing that. So first off, you got to look at the
the run as a final exam. So when you sign up for the, let's just say Dopey. Dopey's your final exam. So that final exam is over 4 days. So right now you're doing your studying, you're doing your training, you're getting your quizzes done. You know, those are the quizzes are going to be kind of like the, you know, a 5K here, a 10K here, something that's a little bit more timed to see where you're at. But of course, nothing can be done without setting some goals. So setting the goals would be great. So right now, are you just wanting to finish? Are you wanting a PR, which I wouldn't recommend it for a Disney race? Are you just, I mean, whatever it is, you know, wanting to qualify for Boston? Again, if you're pretty fast, Disney is a qualifier. And oh, by the way, I live right by the airport, so that's why you hear that. So anyways, so I'm gonna run a little bit now. So it is a qualifier, and I think it's a faster course because it's relatively flat. And if you can get up there in the corrals and everything, you're gonna have the run of the mill. So with that said, let's continue on. So again, you're gonna have, oh, here we go. You're gonna have a starting point, which is training, let's say today, and you have an end point. And in between, there's gonna be a lot of stuff. What are you supposed to do? Well, suggested is, depending on what you're doing, depending on what your goal is, 3 to 5 times a week to do some running, some movement, power walking, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, 3 to 5 times a week. And that depends on you. If you're just starting, I would recommend something lower, 3. If you're in advance and you've already, you know, you've gotten some good times in, some good races in, you can go all the way up to 5. Because one of the keys, and I'm going to say this throughout the video, is recovery. You need to have recovery. Hello. We're over here again by the park trails. So recovery is going to be key. If you do not recover very well, that leads to overtraining, tiredness, weakness, and of course injury. And you guys don't want that. So 3 to 5 times a week to start off. I would suggest taking a journal and writing notes also. Writing notes on how you felt after the run. The next day after your recovery. Were you very, very tight? Were you feeling like you could run another 3 to 5 miles, whatever it is? Take that down so you can actually see your progress. So that leads me to progress. So there's a couple ways that you progress, depending on your distances and so forth, which one is going to be the distance. How much farther can you go on a regular basis or semi-regular basis, maybe once a week or so. And then the other one is how much faster I can go. Am I doing some speed work? And if I am I doing it right? Am I getting enough recovery time in between? So, and we're going to go over those a little bit more in detail coming up. Again, to piggyback on what I've been talking about is getting stuff in condition. All right, there's 2 major things that you get into condition. There's a lot of other stuff, but the 2 major ones are going to be your lungs and your muscles. So your lungs, you got to get them conditioned because your heart is going to pump a little bit faster. You're going to have to be efficient getting blood to your muscles, which are moving, so that way they can continue working. So the lungs have to be more efficient over time. And the key word is efficient. So after a while, there's a thing called VO2 max. Don't worry about that. Main way to think about it is, if I sprint, I'm probably going to be going, okay? That means I need to take more oxygen in order to help the blood flow that's going in. So that's why the body does that. All right, but there's some people that go on a long run, and their long run is 2 miles. After a mile, they're okay. That means their lungs are basically need to get into shape. It could be also that their legs feel fine, but they just don't have the lung capacity to do it. I'm gonna walk a little bit. There's nobody around right now. And so the other one, again, is the muscles. Are your legs in shape? If they're not in shape, then of course they're gonna feel a little bit tight, a little bit worn down. They're not gonna wanna go, so forth and so on. These are kind of things that you put in your notes. So that way, when you get better, you'll be able to say, I remember when I couldn't breathe after running a couple miles. And now when I run 10, I can breathe perfectly. So that's that. Remember, there's other things that come into consideration, environmental. When the humidity is up, it's harder to breathe also. So there's little things like that. So it's not exact, but you kind of get the idea. Okay, I talked about how I was gonna go over some of the reasons we do certain things a little bit more in detail. So further distance. All right, so I start off this by telling a story. I'm a certified running coach, so I've actually helped coach people run long distances before. And my favorite question I always get asked, or I will get asked, is how do you run a marathon? All right, so what I do is I chit chat with them and I sit there going, all right, how far can you run? Oh, I can do 3 miles comfortably. All right, so I said, can you do 3.5 today? And they'll say, well, I can try. All right, then they do it. It's basically based on true stories. So they do it 3.5 miles and they go, okay. Then they finish and they come back and they go, how did you feel? Felt okay. I felt pretty good. All right, but how do you run a marathon? I said, come back. And usually it's about a week later, they come back. And when they get there, again, they start off with, how do you run a marathon? All right, you think you could do 4.5 today? I think so. I felt pretty good last time, so okay. All right, so then they run their 4.5, and then they come back and ask again, hey, how do you run a marathon? I said, don't worry about that, whatever, come back next week. All right, so a week later, they come back, how do you run a marathon? I keep telling them, all right, or I tell them, today we're gonna try about 4.5, but let's say 5. We're gonna try 5. You think you can do that? He goes, yeah, I felt pretty comfortable running the 4.5 last time, so yeah, 5. And then they finish it. I go, how do you feel? They feel okay. I feel pretty good. Wasn't that as hard as I thought. Now, how do you run a marathon? And most of the time I have to explain to them, you're in the process of doing it now. You're getting stronger as you're going faster. Your lungs are adapting to that, and so are your legs. So you are now learning how to run further. Now the key one is faster. How do you get faster? A lot of the programs that I've seen online are kind of generic, so they don't really give anything out. Okay, so this is an easy way of figuring out what your goals should be. All right, we all know that we need to run 16-minute miles or faster, in order not to be swept. So 60-minute miles is the minimum, and that's when the last people start, which is the balloon ladies. Your goal is, I want to take as many pictures as I can, but right now I'm at a 16-minute pace. So one thing that is out of your hands is, what corral do I start in? All right, again, that's out of your hands, so let's take that out of the equation. So what can you do? All right, well, I can get faster. I think I can run, if I do about a 13 to 14-minute pace, I should be able to stop for at least 5 or 6 character pictures, and maybe even give me porta potty time. All right, so now how do we do that? Again, when you're doing speed work, your body will have to adapt to, let's say, a 14-minute pace. So if you're running pretty comfortably at a 16-minute pace and a 14-minute pace is a sprint to you, you're gonna have to do it in short bursts. These are intervals. So you do an interval at 14-minute pace for maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever the distance is. But little by little, the body, lungs, and legs will start adapting to that. And I'm gonna stop and walk a little bit here. They're gonna start adapting to that 14-minute pace. Before you know it, you will be going closer to that 14-minute pace. So now you got that out of the way and you have that your advantage. Again, you cannot control what corral they're gonna put you in. You can't control how your pace is gonna be. So I would suggest that when you do speed work, instead of just running, walking, whatever and stuff, start looking a little bit at your time and start setting that goal to run at that time. I think that's one of the things that I see, that I don't see, I should say, in a lot of the programs that I see online. All right, Manny, with that said, how many times a week, let's say I'm doing 4 times a week. When should I do, how many long runs should I do? How many fast runs should I do? So those are considered higher intensity runs when you do more mileage or faster than your regular time. Okay. So you should probably only do 1 to 2 times a week, probably twice a week if you're doing 4 times a week. And then your long run should be at a slower pace, at least to begin with, until you get adapted. Your hardest run should be your speed work. And again, just about 1 time a week, especially if you're starting off. If you're pretty advanced, you might be able to get to 2 times a week. But again, just think about it this way. And I used to have to talk to some of the people I coached, and because they would say, oh, I beat, you know, I was faster this time than I was yesterday. Then the next day they would tell me the same thing. And I would just tell them, you realize if you keep this up, you're gonna break a world record. Well, way before you break a world record, you're gonna get hurt real bad. You're gonna burn out. You're just gonna be excessively sore. So I would suggest to people, you know, the progressions. And so in other words, don't worry about running as fast as you can. A lot of times when you're in a running club and you got a good running friend and so forth, boy, the hot sun is hitting us now, but that's a good way to distract your mind. And so I do it by holding this camera. And so I slow it down a little bit, or sometimes I speed it up. So, but it just depends. So guys, don't do fast runs all the time. If you do it all the time, again, you're looking at injuries, and that's not where you want to be. So again, long run 1 time a week, and speed work about 1 time a week. 75% of your run, so 3 out of 4, should be at your goal pace or slower. Okay, so again, the other runs a little bit slower. You have recovery runs because you got to recover. If not, again, overtraining, you're gonna get hurt. And now as I'm running uphill, running up this hill, another good word of advice is, after about 3 or 4 weeks of really good running, putting in that mileage, getting your mileage further, getting those miles at the at your goal pace. All right, awesome, you got those in. About 3 or 4 weeks, probably about 4 weeks in, take a week where everything is slower. You cross train, you do anything. So again, you recover. So it helps your body recover. You're gonna be better off, because the whole idea is, again, that final exam. And if you're reach that final exam and you're so dead tired that you can't even move, yeah, you didn't prepare right. So I would suggest, again, after about 3 or 4 weeks, take a week where you just run a little bit slower, cross train, do whatever, but not as much. So you kick it back a little bit. Now, with this information, you can now go back and look at that program and start going, oh, now I know I'm doing this. Now I know I'm doing this. And there's probably going to be parts of it that you can sit there going, speed work. I am going to put this in to where I'm going to hit my goal pace, which is about, let's say, 14-minute miles. And so when I do my intervals on that day, I got to make sure I get as close to 14-minute miles as possible. So, and remember, guys, the whole idea is, even if you feel really great and you can sprint all out and stuff and recover fine, still try to hit whatever goal mileage you have, so that way you will be ready when your final exam comes around. And so that's the whole goal, is to be ready for the final exam, whether it be to finish, PR, take 5 to 10 pictures, whatever it is. But guys, that's going to be the best thing that you can do. And good luck on your final exam. Now, with that said, I will do this probably about once a week, where I'm going to record myself running, and I'm going to go over, here comes the truck again, so I'm going to go over my goals and how I'm getting there. Am I getting there? Am I doing well? And going from there, because I have a little bit of a goal. I just haven't figured out exactly what I want to do, but I will be running Dopey this year as a Dopey duo with my good friend Jolly Jonathan. And Jolly Jonathan has Jonathan Siebert. He is on a lot of the Disney sites, and somebody even asked me, they go, he's such a nice guy on the sites and everything. Is he just as nice in real life? And I said, no, he's even nicer in real life. So I just think to myself, man, I got to make this the best experience for my friend. So I am going to find a way to do this. So I got to train, I got to be in good shape. So that's why I said I'm going to continue keeping myself accountable and helping you guys with a good, maybe a good way of referencing, going like, okay, now I know how we're doing this. Now I know how I'm doing this, and go from there. With that said, guys, I want to wish you guys a very, very magical global running day. And I'm going to say also global running / active day, because a lot of you guys are going to be active in a different way, power walking, maybe, whatever you guys do. But guys, without further ado, and I'm getting tired, I got to get in shape. Without further ado, create a magical day, create a magical run, guys. And guys, see you sooner than later.